Hello, and welcome to our first, last, and only episode of Disposable Water Bottles, brought to you by the fabulous material science group, polymethyl methacrylate, or for short, PMMA.
I'm Crazy Katie, and this is my co-host, Hillbilly Haley.
Howdy.
In this single episode of DWB, we'll be talking about fake boobs, the benefits, the downsides, and everything else.
Everything else. Implants are a huge focus in the biomedical engineering world, and experimentation and research is constantly being conducted to find and prove the efficient and effective implant methods and materials.
Whether reconstructive surgery or replacement, or simply an aesthetic procedure, the best material to use in any implant situation is constantly being negotiated.
However, there have been a lot of difficulties and controversies in the domain of implants. The material used is either really expensive, yet will last a long time, such as a titanium pacemaker, or are really poor quality and will not last for an extended period of time, but are extremely cheap, like some hip replacements and other materials used in reconstructive surgery.
A material that can be used to make implants crucial to maintaining and improving health and satisfaction in society, and an inexpensive material must be discovered of which will be a strong insulating quality that biologically agrees with the body and does not wear down easily or quickly.
The material that we suggest is for you for your next breast implant is silicone! Why does this matter?
That is the question. To matter or not to matter?
You don't want to be that person who gets a knee replacement, go through the recovery process, and is finally ready to get back out into the real world, walking and running like everyone else, just to feel a little twinge in your knee and realize that the material it was made of is either eroded or chemically reacted with the other muscles and ligaments nearby. You have to go right back to the doctor and get the whole surgery done again with a different material which may react in the same or an even worse way.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Don't worry, old lady. We can get you a knee replacement with silicone.
Some materials erode away, and the replacement or implant or reconstructive surgery will have to be done again in the future. When you just want to have to go once, endure the pain a single time, and then never have to worry about an unpredictable random reaction or erosion or deformation to be happening at any time within your body?
Well, silicone could be the answer.
Using silicone as the leading material of implants could help to pacify your worries and decrease the number of future trips you make to the hospital.
Hi, I'm Austin.
And I'm Colin.
The specifics of silicone, as categorized by the MSc triangle, its structure, properties, and processing, supports reasons why it should be used in implants.
So why does silicone fit the bill? Silicone is remarkably similar to human tissue in both the way it looks and feels. The silicone has a similar weight and consistency to human tissue. This means that the implant feels both similar to human tissue to the user, and for the observer it looks similar as well.
Silicone has very low toxicity. This means that even in a worst-case scenario where the entire implant might rupture and leak into the body, no permanent damage is sustained. The fix would be nothing more than a reconstructing without the need to worry about the health of the implant user.
Silicone, furthermore, is very malleable and adaptable. This is attractive for an implant as the owner does not want to be inhibited by the implant as much as possible. Since silicone is non-rigid and can fluctuate the body, the implant feels normal and non-inhibitory to the implant owner.
Readjusting the implant is also fairly straightforward. If there is no failure in the system and the only augmentation needed is the size or shape, it can be accomplished by pumping more silicone gel in or removing some silicone gel. Colin, tell us about the pros and cons of silicone.
Well, we've already talked about a lot of the pros, and there are a few cons to go with silicone, but we believe the pros drastically outweigh any cons. So the few cons that do exist are that implants can create a strain on the surrounding tissue because they don't function as a muscle, even though they are very similar to muscle tissue. Implants also need to be tweaked every so often, so when they fail, more surgery is required as opposed to an alternative non-fluid filled implant. Fluid leakage is undesirable, even though it's very minimal and the failure rate is not very high in silicone implants. But those cons all are negligible in the scale of all the pros. This is why we believe this to be the better material compared to its closest alternative, saline-filled implants, because it has a more lifelike appearance and feel, and we believe this to be the most important factor because even in the worst case scenario, the minimal damage to the body is done. Back to Crazy Katie and Hillbilly Haley for some more information on silicone structure.
Salutations.
Hello again.
Welcome back to us.
We know you missed us.
Silicone is a synthetic polymer whose backbone is made of repeating silicon to oxygen bonds, which are then also bonded to an organic group.
Silicone has a very high surface energy, and the silicon-oxygen bonds are quite polar and without protection would lead to strong intermolecular interactions within the molecules. However, due to the bonding with organic compounds such as the methyl groups, which have low surface energy and only weakly interact with each other, which shield the main chain and allow for the silicone to not react with other molecules inside the human's body.
This allows for flexibility of the siloxane chain, allowing it to be rotated and configured in many different ways.
The structure of silicone supports the reason that it would be a good material to use for implants because it is synthetically created to have flexible chains of molecules which support its ductile nature, allowing the material to be molded and bent into any desired shape for an implant.
The backbone of silicone and oxygen bonds are surrounded by the bond to organic molecules, which disables dangerous reactions between the backbone elements and the elements that naturally occur within the human body. This proves it is safe for silicone to be inserted into one's body without the fear of an extraneous reaction.
Back to Costin.
Colin and Austin.
Welcome back. 27.6% of the Earth's crust is made up of silicon. Silicon, not silicone. However, though it is so abundant, it is not usually found in its pure state.
Silicon is naturally found as silica, otherwise known as glass or sand, whose chemical compound is SiO2.
Insert beach background.
The process starts with silicon. Silicon is heated in the presence of oxygen to create silica, or glass, SiO2. Silica is then processed with heat to form Si2O, or siloxane, which is then polymerized into silicone. The process of polymerizing siloxane is only possible with R groups such as methyl and ethyl groups.
So if you don't want to end up like old Ethel here,
I've fallen, and I can't get up.
think about getting silicone as a material for your next implant reconstruction or replacement.
And this is why this is our first, last, and only episode of Disposable Water Bottles.
Thanks, Professor Floro and our main girl, Ethel, who really needed some silicone. And Life Alert.
Life Alert.
Signing off for the first and last time ever. Crazy Katie and
Hillbilly Haley.
goodbye.
So long.